Bermuda has never experienced anything quite like the 35th America's Cup, a global event held on local shores with millions upon millions of people watching on TV. But this was more than a month of sailboat racing. It was a 3-year collective effort that reached into virtually every corner of our community, pushing our boundaries, expanding our vision, and leaving an indelible mark on those who lived and breathed this incredible national accomplishment.
All of us were sort of on eggshells going in saying, this is big, and are we going to be able to do this?
I put myself out there personally, but I think Bermuda also, we put ourselves out there as a country.
Peter Dormer basically said, 1 part sailboat racing and 9 parts everything else. He was dead on.
Live from Bermuda Broadcasting, this is ZBM TV9 News.
Good evening, everyone. It's Monday, December 11th, 2017. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for joining us tonight. Police say foul play is not suspected in the case of a 37-year-old Smiths man who died after he became unresponsive on a flight to Bermuda. The JetBlue flight arrived at around 10 Sunday night from New York. When officers arrived, CPR was being performed on him by the airline's cabin crew, and life-saving efforts continued as he was rushed to the hospital via ambulance. However, sadly, he was later pronounced dead. Identification of the deceased is anticipated in due course once his next of kin has been notified. Traditional marriage supporter Pastor Dr. Maria Seaman of the Shekinah Worship Center not satisfied by Parliament's decision to approve domestic partnerships in Bermuda, but rather, she says, more focus should be put on why marriages in general are failing. MPs voted that same-sex couples can now only apply for domestic partnerships and not marriage under Bermuda law. One church leader believes that right has not existed for anyone.
No human has a right to get married. A single female can't come to me and say, I have a right to get married. Well, no, you have a right to find somebody you may want to get married. Everybody's not married. Everybody is not married. Now, you can love who you want, you can do it, but marriage is an institution ordained by God.
Pastor Seaman says domestic partnerships have complicated matters.
I believe that we've entered into a compromise situation, and it's my firm belief that anytime you try to compromise with an enemy spirit, a contrasting spirit, it's going to be trouble down the road.
The real discussion, she says, should not be around same-sex marriage itself.
I firmly believe that what this whole last 2.5 years has been about is showing the church that we're not dealing with what we ought to be dealing with, and that is the sanctity of marriage.
Comments in the House of Assembly made during the debate were cause for concern.
There were several, 3 to 5 politicians that were basically putting out a message that God is antiquated, that's an old stance, that this is something that will die out in years to come. Now, what that heightened me to was not to be more proactive concerning same-sex marriage. I need to be more proactive concerning marriage itself.
Many people are against same-sex marriage, she says, irregardless of their religious beliefs.
Many don't. Atheists don't. Muslims don't. Have you interviewed them to find out how they believe about homosexuality? I have, on some cases. I happened to find out a lot of Christians think that homosexuals shouldn't get married. Go figure. Maybe a referendum would show, oh, it did. Maybe a election would show, oh, it did.
Someone will have to decide who ultimately has the last say.
If the court is supreme, then we need to be voting, the public needs to be voting for judges and magistrates. What good is going to be politicians if they're not supreme?
As the bill heads to the Senate, it remains to be seen if independent senators will all back the bill once it is debated in the upper house. The Bermuda Cannabis Reform Collaborative weighing in on Friday's amendments to legislation that will decriminalize cannabis possession under 7 grams. One member of the group says the legislation falls short of addressing a framework to regulate the plant, more importantly, for medicinal purposes.
Firstly, we think it's a good step in the right direction, and we think it's long overdue for Bermuda to be passing decriminalization policies. However, what really needs to be focused on is a long-term plan towards a regulated and controlled market for cannabis in Bermuda. And we believe it's most important to focus on cannabis as a medicine first and foremost, but also to establish a way to have a market that is not illegal. This bill, in essence, will reduce people being penalized for possession of small amounts, which is a good step. However, it does not address distribution or quality control or even cultivation for that matter, which are certainly other elements of this whole entire topic to be discussed.
Education will be a priority for the group going forward.
As a group, we're going to continue to lobby the government, and we will continue to focus on educating the public about the benefits of cannabis as a medicine and why it's important for us to look at drug treatment from a health center perspective as opposed to a criminal justice perspective, because after all, this is a global shift. People are recognizing that the war on drugs is failing and that we need to treat people that use substances as patients that can be cured rather than criminals that should be prosecuted and put through our justice system.
Stay with us. More news after the break.
Step into the next generation of sinks, faucets, tubs, and more with the bold look of Kohler. Choose from a range of whole room solutions, or let an individual piece be your guide for a feel-good, look-good quality. Pure inspiration at your fingertips. Kohler's Next Generation Showroom at BAC.
Fresh Breath Dental is more than a dental office. It's a community dental office with wheelchair access, scholarship opportunities, community day free extractions, plus savings opportunities with $25 off through BIU and BPSU and referral award, and an $80 teeth cleaning as part of our transitional program. Because we believe when the community benefits, we all benefit, as a healthy mouth is a healthier you. So don't delay. Call 433-6825 or email info@fbdl.bm to schedule your appointment today at Fresh Breath Dental in the Cedar Park Center, Hamilton.
Ask a Bermudian why we love our Bermuda, and we might say because of the clear blue water and the pink sand. We may mention our way of talking and how we look out for each other, or our pride of place, and how coming home after a long absence feels like a return to paradise. Whatever we say, our response is always honest, real, and heartfelt. Why do you love Bermuda?
The Blood Donor Center at the King Edward Memorial Hospital has launched a Christmas appeal, saying it needs more donors to come forward. The center says the holiday season often sees a drop in blood donations, and this campaign is aimed at ensuring its supplies remain topped up. Hal Davis reports.
It might seem an unusual Christmas present, and you're unlikely to find out who receives it, but the donor center says blood makes an ideal gift. It'll even provide a special Christmas card for donors to give to a loved one.
We just thought it would be a lovely gift to give out to the community. There's always that person that you don't know what to give to, and it's just lovely to give a unit of blood, save somebody's life in their name. I just think it's very endearing. It's wonderful.
It's all part of the centre's Christmas blood drive. Cindy Pace works at the hospital and regularly donates. She's doing it again today and says everybody should do it. But how does it feel to have a unit of blood taken from you?
Painless. Very simple and very fast. After everything's said and done, it's quite simple. And I actually enjoy it after it's said and done.
The hospital gets all its blood from people on the island. None is imported. So it needs 35 to 40 people to come forward each week. But at Christmas, with so much going on, those numbers may drop, hence the need for the blood drive.
Christmas is busy with everyone. Next week, the kids are off school, people go away. We're going to have a 4-day, really, this 4-day holiday. And then we have New Year's after that. So there's a lot of activity. We'll probably need more units of blood because of all the activity. So, yeah, so for those reasons, it is hard to get blood in as opposed to a regular time in the year.
So for those hesitating about giving blood, what does a regular donor have to say?
I would say that it's a positive choice, and it does help the community, and it's not painful at all, and it's a quick process, and it does get over the fear of having a needle for those that are fearful of it.
With more than 2,000 units needed annually, the centre says it needs all the blood it can get. So donating this Christmas time is a present both to the centre itself and potentially the gift of life to a Bermudian in need.
Claims that staff at the Department of Public Works are benefiting financially from unnecessary outsourcing of equipment. And one former minister confirms the situation existed during his tenure and worryingly may still be going on. Gary Moreno tells us more.
It was angry workers at the Department of Public Works who brought the purported situation to our attention, claiming that the government is being fleeced of millions of dollars by unscrupulous individuals employed by the ministry and who have direct links to companies from which equipment is unnecessarily being rented. A situation which comes as no surprise to former Works and Engineering Minister Craig Cannonier.
It was always a concern that we may be overextending ourselves by renting equipment from other areas when, in fact, we could have probably done some of the work ourselves. But it always is a balancing act, you know. Within that ministry, you want to be able to outsource work as well. But yes, it was a concern of myself as the minister at the time that we may be overextended in how we are meting out some of these rentals.
The workers who spoke with us on condition of anonymity complain of private equipment being purchased and shipped with government orders, with the cost being added to government's bill. Further, that in many instances, equipment which has been ordered for use by the department proved to be not what is required, again leading to unnecessary additional cost with no one being held accountable. Mr. Cannonier telling us, though, attempts were being made to arrest the wrongdoing during his time as minister.
At the time that I was the minister, of course, we did investigate. We felt that there were some egregious actions going on at the time. We were hoping that action would take place, and that's where I left it as the minister. But yes, I don't think there was just one particular individual. I my estimation, believe there were several.
Asked whether he could shed any light on who might have been responsible and what the investigation into the alleged wrongdoing might have turned up.
At this time, I wouldn't want to say too much to it. I mean, obviously, I think that they are still looking at it, which is why you're bringing it up. So again, I was very much concerned about some of the things that I had seen and brought it to the attention of the head of civil service.
Elsewhere, questioned about the workers' claims, a spokesperson for the Ministry of Public Works told us the ministry notes that it is not aware of any significant irregularities regarding equipment shortages and resources. However, it can confirm that following Hurricane Nicole in 2016, it did undertake to rent specialized equipment for various cleanup works. As an added note, currently specialized equipment is also being rented for ongoing works at the airport site. But as it relates to queries regarding personnel, the Ministry of Public Works will undertake to review the concerns as outlined, unquote. Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
A cold front is expected to sweep in later this week, but for now, conditions will remain relatively fair. Let's head over to the AccuWeather headquarters for the details.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
The BF&M Insurance Group is pleased to bring you tonight's AccuWeather forecast. Good evening, Bermuda. I'm your AccuWeather meteorologist, Daji Aswad. And for our current satellite image, we are seeing that frontal boundary right here pushing its way right out of Bermuda. And that's great news because that means we're going to see some drying here across the island. And that's because we're going to have some high pressure out to the west, and that's going to leave us with a clear to partly cloudy night. So across the island tonight, we're feeling quite cooler. Temperatures in the upper 60s tonight for right now. Then they're going to cool down some more. Humidity is expected to be 68%. Winds out of the northwest at 4 to 8 knots. Water temperature is expected to be 70 degrees and waves in the reef up to a foot, waves out 3 to 5 feet. Here's another look at tonight's forecast. We're going to be cooling down to 64 for our low. Clear to partly cloudy conditions as that drier air settles its way in. And then that's going to continue in tomorrow, looking at mostly sunny conditions. High of 72, low of 65. And be sure to enjoy it, because as we head into your extended forecast, we can expect some rounds of showers here across the island. If you're taking the boat out, here's a look at your high tides. Our first high tide is expected tomorrow morning at 4:03 a.m. and our second one at 4:22 p.m. tomorrow. And we won't have much in the way of marine conditions issued as of now until those fronts roll through and bring some breezy conditions behind them. But if you're getting away, leaving the island of Bermuda, heading to Toronto, looking at some snowfall there, topping off at 28 degrees, cooling down into the teens, definitely feeling like winter out in Canada. New York, 49 degrees with a low of 25, seeing some rain out there. As for Atlanta, high of 47, definitely being cooler down to the southeast. Miami, high of only 74, but with mostly sunny skies. And London topping off at 39 degrees with cloudy conditions out there. And for your current conditions here across the Caribbean, we're looking at Jamaica with some wet conditions. The same cold front that brought us wet conditions is tailing through there, the tail end of that front, and bringing them some showers for today. 82 was the high, 77 is the expected low. Trinidad seeing some moisture out there with mostly cloudy conditions. Some chances for some peekaboo sunshine, however. And as for our extended forecast, Tuesday, dry day of the week. We won't have too many of those, and we'll see our temperatures in the lower 70s for our high. And then as we head into your Wednesday, next round of showers here across Bermuda. This is because we have another weak front coming through. It's going to drop some wet weather here, and then by Thursday, it's going to clear out just a tad bit before the next one comes. So Thursday night, we can expect some moisture to really stay in the area, and that's going to combine with our next frontal system here on Friday. That's going to continue into your Saturday, leaving us very wet here in Bermuda for the weekend. But great news as we head into early next week, some drying will come in the area and give us some sunshine. And for all your latest news and updates, please stay tuned to Ocean 89, Power 95, and Inspire 105.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
Island Soul, where fashion meets comfort. Island Soul provides fashionable footwear hand-selected by our podiatrist that offers premium comfort. Located at 60 Victoria Street, Hamilton, Island Soul contains a friendly trained staff prepared to assist you with our vast selection of footwear, both male and female, with all sizes and widths available. Compression and travel socks amongst other accessories are also available in addition to a shoe modification and repair service, making Island Soul a one-stop shop for all your footwear needs.
Christmas in Bermuda is a special time for most of us. Unfortunately, for some families in Bermuda, there is no warm Christmas. This year, many families will be in need. It's the 29th anniversary of the Lions Clubs of Bermuda and the Marketplace helping share the Christmas spirit, so let's help take care of each other. Shop at any Marketplace, shopping center, Modern Mart, or A1 stores and purchase extra tins and non-perishable items. Once you have purchased these items, place your food donations into Santa's bin located at the front of the store. The Lions Clubs will collect your food contributions and assemble them into hampers to be delivered to the families in need around the island. Christmas comes once a year. Help make it a special time for every family in Bermuda. Sponsored in part by the Bermuda Broadcasting Company and the Royal Gazette.
Your home, your life, security. Be fire and burglar free. Right from your phone, monitor, control. Lock safes, doors, gates, business, family safe. You're on the go, and that's okay. BSG with you every
Bermuda Security Group, your security, life safety, and monitoring experts. We're with you every step of the way. Bermuda Security Group, BSG.BM.
Thanks for staying with us. Now over to sports. Bermuda Winter Olympic hopeful meets the qualifying standard. Athletes begin competing in the Youth Sailing World Championships in China. And a new international tennis tournament will be in Bermuda next year. Earl Basden has the details and more in tonight's sports report.
Matthew Lejour gained more than the 2 valuable points on the first 2017 World Cup Men's Moguls event of the season in Finland. Lejour finished 29th with a score of 68.70. His finish turned his Olympic website status to green from red. He's quoted as saying, "It says I'm eligible for Olympic mogul skiing for Bermuda. We are waiting for some sort of confirmation, but it looks green in all areas, so technically I've made it. I guess today was the day I technically qualified for the Olympics." End quote. Ben Smith began competing in the 47th edition of the Youth Sailing World Championships going on in China. More than 380 sailors from 62 nations will compete on the Chinese waters. Smith is competing in the laser radial fleet among 50 other competitors. At the conclusion of day 1, Smith finds himself in 36th place with 64 points. Smith ended the first race in 33rd before crossing the line in 31st in the second and final race of day 1. International tennis will make a return to the Coral Beach and Tennis Club after a 10-year period, as the Bermuda Breeze Tennis Championships will take place in April of 2018. At a press conference earlier today, it was revealed that the United States Tennis Association tournament is set for April 11th through to the 15th, with age groups 40 and up taking part. The director of sports at Coral Beach and Tennis Club, Patrick Singleton, explains how Bermuda earned this tournament.
So this, as Nick mentioned, is a historic tournament. Coral Beach has a long history of tennis in Bermuda. In fact, Bermudians created the United States National Tennis Association back in 1881. And so we have positions on the executive committee, the governance board of the United States Tennis Association. So we have been in discussions with them about hosting tournaments in Bermuda, and this is the start of what I hope will be a long tennis relationship. Working with the ITF and the USTA, we've been able to bring this tournament to Bermuda.
Pat Philip Farron of the Bermuda Tourism Authority is very grateful for the club to be able to bring this tournament to Bermuda.
Well, the BTA is absolutely delighted to be supporting this event. We have in 2018 a very busy sports calendar, and some marquee events such as this one is all part of the story of getting people to come to Bermuda at a time of year. This will be in April. That has traditionally been slower, but sport gives us a wonderful opportunity to introduce groups to Bermuda.
A big field of more than 100 golfers, including Bermuda's Kamiko Smith and Dwayne Pearman, concluded play at the prestigious 51st Jamaican Open Golf Championships at the Half Moon Golf Club in Montego Bay. Smith started the final day tied 6th, but after his third and final round of 8 over par 80, Smith would finish tied 31st at 5 over, while Pearman finished the day tied 68th after his 11 over par 83, leaving him at 25 over for the tournament. Fans were treated to a total of 52 goals in Premier and First Division football over the weekend. A total of 31 goals were scored in the Premier Division, while 21 goals were scored in the First Division. In the Premier Division, it was PHC Zebras 7, Young Man Social Club 1, Boulevard Blazers 1, Robin Hood 10, Crossroads 1, Somerset Trojans 3, Devonshire Cougars 2, North Village Rams 0, Flanagan's Onions 0, Dandytown Hornets 6. In the first division it was Southampton Rangers 2, BAA 2, Island Rangers 0, Paget Lions 5, St. George's Colts 2, Somerset Eagles 2, St. David's 3, Devonshire Colts 2, Wolves 2, and Hamilton Parish 1. 2017 PSA World Championships kicked off at the National Squash Centre in Manchester, England, where Michael Franklin was one of those players playing in the qualifying round. Franklin would go up against Caribbean champion Chris Beanie from Jamaica. The All-Caribbean clash was the shortest match of the day, which saw Franklin retire injured with a tear in his quad after only some 13 minutes. Meanwhile, Noah Brown took to the court to participate in the $10,000 Men's Lifetime Squash Florida Open. Brown competed in the first round qualifier. He took on Ahmad Al-Zabidi from Jordan. Brown and Al-Zabidi would need 5 games to decide a winner, with Al-Zabidi coming out victorious. Tim Price and Jennifer Allen are the 2017 BAC 5K Jingle Bell Run male and female champions. Price stopped the clock in a time of 17:45, with Quincy Cusack second in 17:59 and Ryan Otterbridge was third in 18:35. Allen was the 9th runner to cross the line. She clocked a time of 19:38. Gail Lindsay was the 2nd female finisher and 14th overall in a time of 19:53. The 3rd female finisher was Martina Olszewski-Bell, who finished 27th, clocking a time of 21:10. Total of 92 riders turned out for the 3rd race of the 2017-18 mountain bike season that took place at the Lagoon Park yesterday. The male A division saw Matthew Oliveira take the checkered flag after completing 9 laps in a time of 53:37.2. Caden Hopkins was 2nd, 1 lap down in 50:40.9. Winning the female veteran over 40 division was Sarah Burnett, who clocked a 5-lap time of 40:25.0, with Karen Smith 2nd in 45:40.6. Stardust Horse Jumper Series continued at the National Equestrian Center on Vesey Street. In the horse jumping over 1.20 meter class, Philip Carrera riding Emerson clocked a winning time of 77.30, but they had 5 penalty foul points, while Vicky Steele and Olin 1 finished 2nd with a time of 74.83, but they had 8 penalty foul points. Dale Rochester riding Carolina Girl won the not exceeding 1.20 meter class, clocking 76.51. They had 4 penalty foul points, while Casey Truin and Dalla Vega finished 2nd, clocking 76.19 with 8 penalty foul points. I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
Santa suits.
And party hats.
Letters sent.
Gifts neatly wrapped.
It must be Christmas. Let the magic begin.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Colonial, where people come first.
Bermuda has never experienced anything quite like the 35th America's Cup, a global event held on local shores with millions upon millions of people watching on TV. But this was more than a month of sailboat racing. It was a 3-year collective effort that reached into virtually every corner of our community, pushing our boundaries, expanding our vision, and leaving an indelible mark on those who lived and breathed this incredible national accomplishment.
All of us were sort of on eggshells going in saying, this is big, and are we going to be able to do this?
I put myself out there personally, but I think Bermuda also, we put ourselves out there as a country.
Peter Dorhardt basically said, 1 part sailboat racing and 9 parts everything else. He was dead on.
Blurry-eyed following your eye appointment? Had one too many? Or simply too tired to face the drive home at the end of a long night? There are lots of reasons why you couldn't and shouldn't get behind the wheel. Introducing HomeSafe from Security Associates, the island's only car and driver home delivery service. Reschedule with us and a HomeSafe driver will deliver you and your car right to your door. Whatever your reason for not driving, you can always get HomeSafe. Call 298-2626 for pricing and to find out how you can become a member, or visit homesafebermuda.com. Terms and conditions apply.
The Bermuda Police Service would like to thank the public for their cooperation on the roads over the weekend, as the number of reported collisions was down from 21 last weekend to 10 this weekend. In addition, 8 people were arrested on suspicion of impaired driving this past weekend, with 7 individuals failing the alco analyzer test and 1 passing it. The police will continue their highly visible presence on the roads. The BPS is asking the motoring public to slow down, do not drink and drive, and to make smart decisions while on the roads. Follow the police on Twitter under the handle @BPS_RPU and find out the latest road safety initiatives and traffic enforcement actions conducted by the Roads Policing Unit. And some good news from police tonight. That 16-year-old girl who was hospitalized after her bike went down an embankment has been discharged from hospital. She had been in the intensive care unit for almost a week. Well, that's all we have for you this evening. I'm Jasmine Patterson. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Jasmine Patterson's wardrobe and makeup is provided by Gibbons Company.